Good morning, people. Hello and welcome to another vlog episode of the India Darshan travel series and my second day trip out here from Bhuj. Today we are going westbound. It's going to be a very long journey and we are going nearly to the land's end. So right now I'm at a gas station getting fueled up because after the day trip for yesterday I didn't refuel, so we were nearly running on just 1 or 2 points of fuel. So gonna freshen up, take some water. Fueling is already done and then we'll be on our way, and the first stop is going to be the Mata Na Mudh temple. So let's get started. So finally, after driving for nearly 2.5 hours, made it to my first stop of the day, which is Mata Na Mudh. Mata Na Mudh, I think. Mata Na Mudh is in some other place, so I don't know what Na actually means in Gujarati. But anyway, there's this sort of underpass. So hid under the underpass and found a nice parking, shady parking, and the temple is on the other side. So let's go inside, do the darshan first. And I think this is very far away from Bhuj but very close to the rest of the places that I want to see. So we are nearly in like a cluster zone of all the good spots that are here. But in this region there aren't very many gas stations, fuel stations after this. So I'm gonna refuel up as well just to be on the safe side, so that we can do the next 3-4 spots and then we should be okay. And by the time we come back to civilization of sorts, we'll have more gas stations along the way back. So let's do the darshan first. Had a really nice darshan inside. There's a nice decorum, gents and ladies line separated. There's also a nice big air cooler inside, so it was very nice, peaceful and quiet environment. This is the Ashapura Mata temple, so also known as Mata Na Mudh, and the darshan is done. So I think we're gonna pass by this flyover now, get to the gas station, and then we'll be off to Lakhpat Fort. so as you can see, I'm in the middle of some sort of a highway of sorts, or like a road of sorts. So this was supposed to take me to Siyot caves, but when I asked the locals around, they said the caves aren't very great. And if you keep following, so there would be Guneri caves instead. So I came to the next village over. So this is Guneri village, and this road passes through here. And as you can see, I don't see any caves, so probably a little bit of miscommunication and understanding of where these Guneri caves are. So the caves are not happening, and I just checked Google Maps that this road directly leads us to the Lakhpat Fort. So probably this is not the original main route used to go there, but because I took a detour to go to the caves, now I'm using this road to go to the fort. So luckily we aren't very lost because as you can see, these are all like thorny bushes here and nothing else around. So we keep going to the fort. So thankfully we're still on track. 1:30 p.m. So that's gonna be the next stop for the day. Alright, so finally we've made it to Lakhpat. That's the fort wall and toll gate, entrance gate right behind me. And this is the Lakhpat Fort and Lakhpat Heritage City. So we're gonna drive around a little bit, try and understand what there is. I think I see a gurudwara of sorts. I just see the dome up front. So I'm gonna drive around and check out what is there to see here. And as you saw, most of the highways are completely barren, in the sense there's no vegetation cover and there's no soul inside. The only time I found people was once at the temple where I randomly stumbled upon. I think it was a Mahadev temple. And those guys were very kind when I asked them for directions. They sat me down, they told me to get some water, rest up a little bit while they explained the directions. 5, 6 different people jumped in to try and explain how to get there. And once after in Guneri village at the beginning, there were some shops where the shopkeepers were saying like, the Siyot caves are not worth visiting, try Guneri caves instead and whatnot. So either way, none of the caves happened because of whatever. I think I also came up at a fork at some point, but I decided to stay on the main paved roads. I think if I went dirt roading, that would have taken me to Guneri caves, but whatever. At least we are at the Lakhpat Fort. If there's a gurudwara here, I'm gonna go there first. But yeah, that's why do keep in mind there's nobody here to help you out if you need any help. Most of the times, people here are very kind, but it's upon luck when, if and when you find them, and that's why there's also no fuel stations or anything like that here. I didn't even see any restaurants either. So lunch is still pending, but for now, let's explore the heritage city. What a beautiful Gurudwara Sahib this is. There were two staff members, but they were both resting, and given that it's peak heat at 2 p.m., I didn't want to wake them up to chit chat with them. Did the darshan. Unfortunately, didn't get the prasad because those guys were taking a rest. But there was a nice board sign that explains the history about this place. So it happens that Guru Gobind Singh Ji, the Sikh Guru, was on his journey all the way to Mecca, Medina, and while he was in Gujarat, he stayed in this town for a few nights. And this Gurdwara has some of his prized possessions preserved here. So that's the reasoning behind the naming of the Gurudwara as well. And I guess geographically speaking, this also is the westernmost Gurudwara of the entire of India. I don't think if you can go further west of this place and there's any more Gurudwaras in this area. Do comment down below if this happens to be the case, because I just looked up the maps and it appears to be so, though there is no such official title given to this Gurudwara Sahib. They have also won UNESCO Cultural Heritage Award for Preservation of Culture, which is also very nice. And yeah, I guess that was pretty much a place of significance here. I don't see anything further, but we'll drive around a little bit more just in case if there's something else. Had a whole lot of fun exploring this seaside previously fortified town come village of Lakhpat Fort city and the heritage village. So not a whole lot is going on right now. One off season, two extreme heat. So there's nobody here, no activity, but still was a fun experience trying to explore this place on my own. So that behind me was the entrance to this heritage village. So we're gonna go back out and we will go to the next town over. It's called Koteshwar. Seems to have a nice Shiva temple and perhaps also the westernmost tip of the Indian landmass. So I'm going to go there and check it out if that's as far west as one could go. So let's go. See you in Koteshwar. So found a gas station. This is known as Vivek Petroleum. It's a Bharat Petroleum gas station. Didn't appear on the maps when I looked it up. So there's one piece of information for you. If you go from Lakhpat to Koteshwar, there's at least some possibility of getting fuel. And so far, this is the State Highway 6 and it's been horrible quality. 2/3 of the way, all the way to Koteshwar is all off-road. 1/3 only that I'm cruising on now is like properly made highway that you can pick up pace. My average pace so far has been more or less like 15-20 kilometers an hour. So that's why just 33-kilometer distance between Lakhpat and Koteshwar, and it takes at least an hour. It's because of this off-roading. So much so that my hands are still vibrating and my butt still hurts. So taking a short break here at the gas station, drinking some water, stretching my legs. Have about 20-25 minutes to go, so we'll be there soon enough. So I'm nearly just a kilometer or two short of the Mahadev temple. I'm already around Koteswar and Narayan Sarovar area. along the way I saw this Ministry of Tourism kind of resort here. So came in to ask if there is some food available. They say the restaurants are all closed. Haven't had anything to eat, and it's almost 4 p.m. So I was kind of starting to be a bit hungry. But unfortunately everything is closed. The staff is resting, so didn't get anything. Let's go to the temple, do the darshan, and then we'll figure something out afterwards. Alright, so I made it to Koteshwar Mahadev temple. That's the temple right there. We're gonna go inside, and the tourism resort people, the staff were really amazing. So when they realized that I was there in the quest for food, they mentioned that the food was all not possible to be given because the staff was all resting. They felt a little bit sorry, and they fed me a lot of water. We were chatting under the shade. They told me a whole lot about this area, how this temple was made, about the shivling that's in here. There's also a Chapleshwar Mahadev, I think, nearby, which is a much older temple, history of Narayan Sarovar and so on. We want to stop by there as well, and they also told me the return path all the way back to Bhuj, like not to follow Google Maps but a different route. And they did mention that the day trip kind of plan that I'm doing with keeping Bhuj as my center of trips every day is the net driving distance would be somewhat longer. I prefer it this way. It's a personal preference, but according to them, all these places that I'm going, if you connect them as an outer peripheral line, you'll be able to see them all in a shorter distance, in about 200-300 kilometer ride, if that's what you want. So anyway, let's go inside the temple, and I'm going to keep those pointers in mind in case if I want to adapt and improvise at some point. But for now, let's go inside the temple, because we have about a 4-hour return ride back all the way to Bhuj, and these highways, these are state highways, so there's not a whole lot of lighting along them. So I want to cover as much distance in daylight as I can. Quickly do the darshan first. Alright, so did a short and sweet ride, came all the way behind the temple. So that's the Koteshwar Mahadev temple up front there. Here's another small temple, and behind me is a BSF checkpost, and that's the end of the kind of landmass, Indian landmass. There's nothing after that except for the seaside, and I think Pakistan is just about 40-45 kilometers from here, so that's why there's a BSF checkpost here. I am guessing that means I am at the westernmost tip of India. Not really sure, maybe there is a small village or something thereafter, but this is more like, you know, the westernmost tip of India that you would want to go as a tourist, for example. So let's just call it that. So we're gonna go to the second temple as well, but first let's ask the BSF folks if we can cross that and take a few pictures with the seaside. So I spoke to a few BSF officers. Beyond the checkpost, they say things are under construction. It's a little bit broken, so they don't allow people to go further for safety reasons. But in the future, they will take people further up and promote more tourism beyond this point. But for now, this is as far as I see land. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm at the westernmost point of the Indian subcontinent for now. Might expand in the future. So from here we're gonna go back to Narayan Sarovar. We skipped that on the way here, so let's go check that out as well. So I did the darshan of Narayan temple as well, and this behind me is Narayan Sarovar. So this entire region, the name of the temple is all based out of this Narayan Sarovar, which is one of the 3 or 4 most sacred sarovars for the Hindu culture. So Sarovar basically means a pond, and on the other side there are some people taking a dip in it. So I'm trying to find an angle where they don't appear in this scene. But yeah, so if you, the guy at the tourism resort told me that if you do the Char Dham Yatra, which is the sacred pilgrimage in India, after that, to complete that entire pilgrimage, you have to come here and take a dip in this sacred pond. So that was an interesting learning. I always thought we always go to Ganges in Rishikesh or Haridwar, but no, you have to come here to the sacred pond and take a dip. And I think we have 3 or 4 ponds like this in the whole of the country. So the shortcut route that Bhaiya told me at the tourist resort is actually pretty nice. So we're driving on nice highways, and Bhuj is 129 kilometers away. Mata Na Mudh will also be there at 32, and Dayapar will be at 20. Dayapar is a nice town where you have a lot of eateries. So I'm gonna have my first meal of the day there. It's already 6 p.m. so it's gonna be more like dinner. Everything else is like more like small villages all clustered together, connected through highways. So there isn't a whole lot of options for you to dine at. So, and also the cool thing that I wanted to show you is we are nearing 4,000 kilometers. So I stopped by real quick just to get the distances and everything sorted, and also took note of that. So when we get to 4,000, we're gonna take a picture for good memory. So far on this ride, we've clocked 4,000 kilometers and a whole lot more adventures to go. So this distance is gonna go up. Alright, so this was Hotel Mahadev. They were still preparing for dinner, so the meal wasn't ready yet. But the owner was very kind when I told him that because of the nature of the highway and because there's only cluster of villages after this, I didn't get much to eat afterwards. So he said, yeah, we'll do something for you. So they improvised, cooked up a vegetable for me, gave me loads of food, and I'm completely stuffed now. So I'm gonna head back before the camera dies. Gonna end this vlog here. And that completes our expedition to the west of Kutch in Gujarat from Bhuj, our day trip. And it's going to be another 2.5-hour journey for me to get back to the hotel. I'll see you again in another vlog. This is the Rustic Wanderer signing off.